or have to start loading it at a time when
While it's hot.
nobody else in the house is using the internet, because it takes every ounce of bandwidth apparently that we have, because
it's so awesome.
Because it's so big. I mean, 50 minutes of 1080 HD takes a lot of time to upload. But for the last couple of weeks, I mean, and I'm really kind of irritated about it. Our bread and butter has been has always been Facebook. I mean, we get
Facebook video.
We get 200, 220, 230
1,000 views.
Yeah, I wish on there for us, 220 ain't too bad, 230. And the last 2 weeks I've tried to upload on there, it just constantly crashes or won't process through or something. I don't know. So anyway, that's my tech rant.
Get it fixed, John. That's what we pay you for.
Yeah.
That's why we pay you the big buckaroos. Charlie, question.
Yes, Ace Ventura.
Did you get hepatitis A from Thunder over Louisville?
I have never been to Thunder over Louisville.
Ever?
And I plan on never going to Thunder
Aaron
over
went to
Louisville.
Thunder over Louisville once. Aaron, tell that story. Tell us what happened when you went to Thunder over Louisville.
We were going with a church group, and before we left the church, I thought it'd be cool and touch the ceiling, because that's what all the cool kids did. And I
jump up and smack.
Yeah, and I twisted around and landed on my ankle wrong. And so I kind of limped it to the car and got in the car and said I hurt my ankle. And Mom's like, yeah, whatever. And so we went down to Thunder over Louisville and parked and had to walk a mile. And I'm sitting here limping down the road going, my ankle hurts. They're like, yeah, whatever. So we got down to the banks of the river and looked down at my ankle. It's the size of a softball. So, yeah, it broke my ankle. So...
And had to walk like 3 miles on it.
I bet your mom was psyched about that. She's like, oh.
There's been so many times where, sorry, Mom, I know you get mad every time we tell this. Like where we hurt ourselves or almost die, and we try to tell her, and she's like, whatever.
Well,
and then she
how many times did you overplay an injury?
Aaron, am I lying about this? We almost drowned once, and Mom's like, leave me alone. And
the weird thing is, she worries about everything, but then when something actually happens, she's very nonplussed about it. It's like, oh, okay.
she's gonna strangle.
Well, see,
you.
your mom and my mom must.
I'm gonna get a phone call like 2 weeks from now after this airs. Why do you always say that about me on the podcast? No, Mom, I'm sorry. You don't sound like that either.
I fell off a pool ladder when I was 9 one time and hit the ground and dislocated my wrist to the point that my arm was almost on a 90-degree turn, and it was swelled up because I broke my wrist and dislocated it. My mom looks at it, she's like, well, just go in and take a nap, it'll be okay later. And I was like,
sleep it off.
I was like,
sleep it off.
She's like, it'll be okay. I went and took I tried to take a nap. Of course, it was hurting so bad. Finally, she's like, fine, I guess we'll take it to the hospital. Yeah, I was broken, dislocated.
I broke my collarbone, and my parents didn't take me to the doctor for a week. I can't put my shirt on, Mom. I can't lift my arm above her here. There's nothing. Just go to school, participate in PE, sit there and suffer.
Play dodgeball.
Your shoulder was down around your belly button.
I couldn't lift it past this point. They're like, just try. And then I finally went to the doctor, and they took an X-ray. Come in there, they smack the X-ray on the wall and walk out, waiting for the doctor. And Dad's sitting there with me, and he goes, your collarbone's broke. I'm looking at the X-ray. You can see it's like, well, thanks a lot, guys.
Oh.
Anyways.
Yeah, parents, man.
Parents.
Speaking of
parents.
I love mine, but...
Speaking of parents, we all went and theoretically saw Infinity War this week.
We have, in theory, seen Infinity War.
And in theory, we really, really enjoyed it. We're so glad we went and saw it. That being said...
It was
so
amazing.
good, Brian.
Yeah, it was great.
I mean, I've never seen you cry so much in my life.
It was emotional.
The fact that you
when Thanos splits Captain America in half, and there's now two, I was like overjoyed.
He split in half like an amoeba. There's two of them then.
Yeah.
My question is, did you already bring the sackcloth and ashes with you, or was it just one of those things?
I had read a spoiler.
Okay,
that's why.
I got you. Just
He
in
knew.
case.
He knew. He showed up with his head already shaved.
That's right.
Just ripped the hat
Salty
off.
Brian
Put
was
the
there,
ashes on there.
Yeah.
So,
It was good when Justice League showed up.
it was great.
Do not insult me.
That's my Thanos. Oh, we haven't discussed this on the podcast. This is totally off subject. I rented Justice League.
Oh yeah!
I made it 30 minutes and I turned it off.
That's my boy.
I just
5 couch. Boom.
I just couldn't. I couldn't.
You missed the best part.
The part that made me like just hate life in general was when we first meet Aquaman in the small village, and I'm just like, they really filmed this. Like they didn't say, okay, we need to take another take. Like this is the good one. This is the good one.
It's the one we stuck with.
This is the one that we decided to introduce the character with.
What movie are we talking about here?
Justice League.
Oh, okay.
And so then I get to the point.
Dumpster fire.
So then
Brian's dumpster fire.
I'm like, and I'm just sitting there just pondering on this, and then I get to the point where Cyborg is stalking Wonder Woman in the woods, and I'm like, no, I'm
Wait,
done.
let me ask. In the 30 minutes you watched, how many gratuitous Wonder Woman shots did you get?
The whole scene where she's in the bank.
Every scene.
I mean, I'm just like, this is obscene. This is almost as bad as Batman Forever. but yes, so we've discussed a lot of times, and those of you that don't live in Louisville that watch the podcast, listen to the podcast, we discuss Secret Cinemas, which is a small movie theater on the outskirts of town.
By the way, we were, just to let you know, one of our listeners the other day, of course he's an 8th grader, but we were coming back from the Creation Museum, and he was like, "Is that Secret Cinemas?" I was like, "No, that's not Secret Cinemas." He goes, "Well, where is it?" I said, "It wouldn't be a secret if I told you."
Actually,
I was with family members the other day, and we were talking about going to see a movie. I was like, "Well, let's go see it at Secret Cinemas," and they just looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
Like everybody knows it's here. I
I'm
don't
like
understand.
the one right there. I actually had to call it by its name.
the funny thing is that I was a guest on a friend's podcast, and that was one of her questions: is where Secret Cinemas is, and I gave the location.
On the podcast?
Dirty
did not.
person.
Oh, my goodness.
That's like telling where the Bat Cave is, Charlie. You can't do this.
Wish they would have...
If you go back,
What's wrong with you?
we've mentioned it before. Before Tim was on the podcast, we've mentioned it.
One of those spring-loaded ejection seats
That
like
was
they
when
have
we
in the
had like
cartoon.
5 listeners, Charlie.
The 5 Live listeners.
Not the 17 we have now. Okay,
That's
come on.
why it's been so packed lately.
Hey, bub, we're averaging over 1,000 a month now. Okay,
Okay, sorry, I haven't checked the stats in a while.
except for April because we haven't
because our fish tank was so overly
we
popular.
haven't actually podcasted.
we haven't podcasted in like
But
4 weeks.
Pete is calling us because we get those fish swimming around the whole time.
Charlie, tell me what's your favorite part about Secret Cinemas?
The fact that you can just say, I'm going to go see this movie on opening day and walk in 5 minutes before the movie starts and get a ticket.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Also, the fact that you can go opening day to see a blockbuster film and the theater is 70% full. Like and even the way that it's set up too, even if you get a bad seat, it's not a bad seat.
Yeah.
Even the front row seats are far enough back from the screen, it's not terrible. Not that I would ever want to be.
I can tell you that Brian's dad's favorite part of it is the popcorn.
Unlimited popcorn refills.
You can, if you order a large popcorn, you can get refills and refills.
Tim, what's your favorite part of Secret Cinemas, other than the fact that it's super close to your house?
that's it. I mean, I can
He can
literally
walk there.
I can walk there. I can leave my house and walk there faster than you can leave your house and drive there.
Oh yeah,
It's literally not even a mile from my house.
it's 45 minutes from my house. It's worth every minute.
I just like sit around. Like if we were all going to go together to see a movie, I'm always like, just text me when you're there, because I can leave my house and still beat you getting out of the car. Like that's how close I am to it. So I like it for that reason.
John, what's your favorite part of Secret Cinemas?
I like the fact that they sell White Castles. I mean, seriously. I mean, that is. I haven't had one yet, but
fact that they have them
there's
there.
something about
there
the
is
ideal, because when we go, anytime we've ever gone, one thing you have to understand about Carla, because she's into the Star Wars Marvel thing just as much as I am. I'm very blessed that way with a wife that enjoys it as much as I do.
That's in Proverbs, I think, isn't it?
What?
Blessed is the man who
30
takes a wife who likes Star Wars.
It's in the 32nd probably.
Blessed is the man who hath a wife that liketh Thanos, and it's in there somewhere. But I like the ideal that I could go there, and if I was to get there early enough, but I can't get there super early because she likes to be 5 minutes late for everything. She's gonna kill me when she hears that. But I could actually go in if I was there 15 minutes early, and I could go up there and I could say, Give me 3 cheese and 2 regular and no onions. And I could sit in the theater and theoretically eat White Castles and watch Infinity War. That is amazing. And the Cokes are good too. They have really good Cokes there.
It's Pepsi.
Is it? Oh, crap. It's the Mountain Dew then. It'd have to be the Mountain Dew.
It's
Yeah.
Pepsi.
I don't like Pepsi at all. But
We're sponsored by Pepsi.
are we?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Purchasing them is not a sponsorship. If
I'm
they
look.
paid you,
I'm efforting. Okay,
There-
I'm
there you go.
efforting. All right.
Wow, that's a new one.
That's
You haven't heard that? It's a Dan Patrick show. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to.
Listen,
I'm gonna have to give a plug out in a couple of weeks to a
Anyways.
friend of ours that Tim knows. I'll tell you after the podcast. I want to get it before we give a plug out though because it's pretty cool. He's supposed to be bringing me one tomorrow. I think.
Brian. What's your favorite part of Secret Cinemas?
The fact that you can go there and you don't have to take a second mortgage out on your home to watch a movie.
Right. That's
Yeah.
That's another good
I mean,
thing.
you can go there and get a movie ticket, popcorn, and a drink for I think,
Maybe,
less than $40. So.
Maybe Secret Cinemas can sponsor us. We have to actually call them what they're actually called.
They might prefer Secret Cinemas.
We'll just show up like.
God,
the
that's a
Infinity
kill
War
name.
with
We got
our
go
Maybe
for
we
that.
can do a
broadcast and
live
stuff.
broadcast.
Yeah, that's what's
Well,
supposed
maybe
to
we need to go down to. Maybe we need to pull all our 20s and go to Litchfield and start one called Secret Cinema.
Oh, it's always about down south with you.
It is, isn't it? Hey, there isn't a movie theater there. That's a hub now.
The
Litchfield
closest-
is becoming a hub.
Closest one's Radcliff or Beaver Dam.
Beaver Dam, yeah.
There's been some crazy movie theaters in Louisville, like Dixie Dozen and
I miss Dixie Dozen
and,
so much.
Dozen
and
was
what was
the
what was
best.
the big one on Bardstown that we always went to?
Showcase.
Showcase.
Oh my
Stony
goodness!
Brook.
Then you had the one over in Indiana, River Falls Mall.
Oh yeah. And then there was the Dollar Theater one right here by the old Target.
Movie City.
Movie
Movie
City.
City.
Yeah.
Movie City was great because you had to walk down that
Yeah.
that sewer pipe of a
You walked through
of a
Target.
hall. Well,
Yeah.
Target eventually shut their gates, so all
Yeah.
the 15-year-olds
The
wouldn't come there
riff-raff.
wouldn't come in there and steal the Twizzlers. That was a problem back in the day. They wouldn't steal the Twizzlers and those funky like Back to the Future 2 sunglasses and stuff because that's when that was there. And I remember that because if you went in, it had like 4 theaters, and then you had to go up the stairs to go to the bathroom. The bathrooms are upstairs, and it was like being in one of those movies where it's like the like you're in one of them underground clubs because everybody's like hanging out on the staircases and stuff. It was dirty. That place was the worst. But I got was it you and our buddy Chris that I got in to watch Lethal Weapon that time?
No.
Wasn't you? It was Chris and somebody.
Lethal
Was,
Weapon. I would have been in Florida still.
yeah, Lethal Weapon 2 or something. Was it you, Charlie?
No, I never saw Lethal Weapon 2.
I don't know.
in
Me
theater.
and Chris Yates and somebody. And
I don't believe you.
Johnny,
Chris
Johnny,
Yates never
Johnny,
saw a
Johnny.
rated R movie in his
no,
life.
I played the part of his older brother, I think, and got him into the movie. I can't
Playing the part of Chris Yates.
I can't remember, anyway, I can't remember what it was now. So, and I remember Dixie 4 up there where the Po Folks was,
Oh yeah.
and where there's now the Steak and Shake. Usually they had the. It seemed like every Friday night the riot police, the SWAT team was up there breaking something up because it was like insane there too.
It's because the theaters were so small. I mean, you could literally like hear the other movie through the wall,
That's true.
and you'd be like, "Oh, that's how that movie ended." Spoiler.
We were. I was in there one night. It was me and some friends, and the only reason I think we survived is because the one friend of mine was like 6'7". It was about as wide as a house, Chad.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he was there,
He's a big boy.
and we were sitting there watching some movie, and there's these girls behind us, and they kept saying things and screaming at people. And this cop comes in. He was like, "You're gonna shut up, or I'm gonna take you out of here." Like, you can't take us out here. We ain't doing nothing. The next thing we know, he's like diving into the seats on the top of and dragging one of them out by their feet. We're like, "Holy cow!"
Is that Dixie Dozen?
Dixie Dozen,
Oh,
yeah,
that's perfect.
that place.
I'm
was
telling you, that's where I
crazy.
had some of my most memorable movie experiences. Was Dixie Dozen.
Can you share?
I think the one thing about Dixie Dozen that sticks out to me, besides the smell of pee,
Still
two
popcorn and pee.
movement. We went and saw Mortal Kombat there, and I still can this day remember every time a Mortal Kombat character walked on, everybody was, stop, Zero,
It wasn't everyone. It was the kid behind us.
No, it was me too. I was
Okay.
But the last time I went to Dixie Dozen, I saw Final Destination 3. It was awful. I mean, it was just like there were like toddlers walking down the movie aisles. People were talking the whole time, and just as the movie ends, and it goes like black screen, momentarily quiet before the end credit music stops, some like 11-year-old heavyset kid that was like sitting right beside us just went like legitimate farted. Like super loud, and that's how like, and like that was it. There's Dixie Dozen. Like I'm never coming back here again.
Dixie Dozen had so much potential.
Movie's
It
over.
was just horrible.
I've been holding this one in.
Used to like going up to Dixie Dozen. Well, not going to Dixie Dozen, but you knew Dixie Dozen was on its way out when like you go up there on a Friday night and you had to go to Staples or something, and the manager of the Dixie Dozen was like literally standing out there on the sidewalk with a baseball bat. And wouldn't let anybody else in.
I worked in Dixie. I worked in the same shopping center with that movie theater for quite some time, and that was the thing to do Friday night was to sit outside and watch the cops.
Which is so weird about it because that wasn't a dollar movie theater. I mean, that was like
when I
$12,
first
$13 a
came
pop.
here, like
But
it
it
had
had the
that little
arcade, though.
arcade
Oh, yeah,
attached, and it
yeah.
would have like it was awesome. Charlie, worst movie experience ever at a theater.
He's had a lot.
Well, I'm trying.
There's been several. I once killed a man.
From all those times spent in the...
I would probably. I would. I mean,
Whoa.
I wasn't going there.
I would probably say the worst experience was when I went and saw the Wild Wild West in the theater
Because it was the Wild Wild
because
West.
it was the Wild Wild West. I didn't pay for it. Someone that was
you sneak
friends. No, friend of mine or a friend of my girlfriend at the time. Her friend's boyfriend got us all, paid for the tickets.
We got it. It was a friend of somebody.
Well, basically, he wrote a cold check. Almost went to jail for it. And I'm
For
like, of
Wild
all the
Wild
movies,
West?
of all the movies, you're gonna
That's something you do for
You
milk
wrote a
and
check
cheese or a
to
new
the
car.
movie theater?
hey, dumber than a sack of hammers. This guy,
Right,
I don't know
check
if
for
he's
Wild Wild West.
if he's still alive. I'm surprised.
For our,
But yeah,
our
that's-
younger listeners, people used to write checks.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the. I mean, I'm trying to think if I've ever walked out of a movie.
I have a couple times.
I've never done that.
I can't say that I have.
Aaron.
I even suffered through
Yeah.
the island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh, I was going to say that. One of the worst
that was the
movie
worst.
experiences was watching The Island of Dr. Moreau with you and Aaron and several other people
Yeah.
just because that movie was so bad.
Yeah, I was like,
Aaron,
oh my
worst
gosh.
movie experience?
Probably when I went to Rift Tracks one night. And those tickets cost extra money. They're like, $15 a pop or whatever. So, me and Andrea and Jackson went, and so we spent $45, and we're walking towards the theater, and Jackson's walking along like the concrete railing that's kind of like raised up. He's walking along, and all of a sudden he trips and falls into this rose bush.
Oh, God.
And just gets like totally cut up. I mean, he's bleeding everywhere. We pull him out. He's all crying and stuff. And he's like, I want to go home. And I was like, we spent $45 on these tickets. Now you get in there. And he's like, I want to go home. And so
He
we
broke
went
his
up to the
collarbone with his
desk.
uncle.
We went up to the desk. Like, you got any Band-Aids? And sure. They had this box of Band-Aids. We covered him with Band-Aids. He had Band-Aids everywhere.
What's wrong with you?
I can't remember if he stayed for the movie or if Mom came and picked him up. I can't remember what
It
happened.
gets so sticky.
He's got a stick sticking out of his eyeball. You're going to this movie. What's wrong with you, Aaron?
I don't know.
My kid
Oh,
fell
wow.
on and really severely hurt himself. Man, I made him watch this movie. You are mom.
then- There was the one night we went and saw Return of the Jedi, and Charlie got yelled at. I remember that.
That was great. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I was there. Was that
Got
the night I
cussed
was there
out,
for? Yeah, I've got a story that goes along with that though. Or the best part was when the guy stood up and he was about as tall as a hobbit.
And the entire
that's a good-
the
Yeah.
football team was there.
Yeah, because we're sitting there and it starts up, and of course, it's you weren't there. What it was him and like the whole front line for the Beth Haven.
Now it's only 4 people, but still.
Well, yeah, it was a 8-man team, but I mean, it's still big guys.
Big guy.
And this guy in front of us sitting there, and me and Charlie and Carla, we start reading the scroll because everybody's seen Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
This guy turns around, he's like, "You better shut the fuck!" And So that just antagonized us. So the rest of the movie, we're like clapping right behind his head and saying things in the movie.
And he keeps turning like sideways, like
Yeah.
not turning all the way around to look
side
to
eyes
see.
you.
Yeah,
But he was acting like we were the only ones that were like partying. Everybody was partying.
Yeah,
the best part of that movie was the guys at the end doing the Ewok dance.
Yes.
Style. That was fantastic.
So we get to the end. We're all still goofing off. I stand up, leave. Charlie stands up. This dude pops up out of his chair, and he's about 4'2". Literally, he's not that tall. And he
gives me a mean mug too. He gives me this like stares at me look, and I just look back at him, and nothing's going to happen. And his friends that were not really, they weren't happy with the way he acted either. They walked away. He just sat down. He waited for us to leave before he left.
because we're standing there and Scotty comes up and Phil and all them. They're like,
Yeah,
is there
because
a
Scotty and
problem?
Phil and Steve were in the very front row.
And they come back. They're like, is there a problem? Because, this guy's like, oh, wanting to get off. And he just sits down and waits. And we all leave. It was one of the funniest things ever.
John, you have a monumental movie experience that Aaron and I talk about all the time.
Yeah. My worst, probably the worst movie theater experience I ever had was at Showcase on Bardstown Road. And we used to go out there a lot. Me and Carlo, we were always, because we liked it. It was if you're not from Louisville, if you're from Louisville and you
It had that old feel to
yeah,
it.
if you were before before like 1980, you've been to Showcase Cinemas on Bardstown, at least most people have. But it was real Art Deco. It was built in the 60s, and it was originally built where all the buildings were separated. It didn't have the big foyer or anything, but which meant that you would literally have to plan like 10 minutes to buy your tickets and get to some of the theaters, because you'd have to walk almost the length of a football field to get by, because they had them broke up into pods. So you had building 1 was theater 1, 2, 3.
It seems like there was lines in every building.
Yeah, well, they used to have that. That's what you would do, because I remember when I was a kid going out there to see Empire Strikes Back with my uncle. We went out there and it had on the sign Empire Strikes Back Building 1. So you went to Building 1 and bought your tickets there at Building 1. That's where you went to the movie. Later on, they enclosed it all. Well, anyway, so we got our tickets. It was late at night. We had gotten off work and we went in to see this movie, and we had to go way back to like Building 1. There's nobody else back there, and I don't even remember what we were seeing now. So we went in, sat down, got our tickets, went and sat down in the theater, and I told Carlos, I gotta go bathroom. I gotta go. So I got up and went to the restroom. There was only like 5 people in this building. I mean, that includes the workers. So I go into the men's bathroom there, and I open the door, and I go in, and then go to use the bathroom, and I keep hearing all these people, and they're all going, and they're all making, they're shuffling around and stuff. And I'm standing here doing my business, and I turn around, and there's a bunch of guys standing there. And then I realize I'm in the middle of a drug deal. I'm literally in the middle of a drug deal going on in this theater bathroom. And these dudes are all staring at me, and I'm staring at them, and I'm look at them, and so they start getting a little, I don't want to say hostile, but they start getting a little bit antsy. You could tell, because I'm standing there staring. I looked at him and I said, it's all good, dude. I said, it's all good, man. I'm not even going to wash my hands. I just turned around and walked out. I went and sat down in the theater.
Carla weren't sharing the popcorn.
Carla was
that was before you had
Hand
hand sanitizer.
Carla was like, are you all right? I was like, I just walked in on a drug deal. And I think they were trying to flush it down the toilet or something. It was crazy. That was the worst thing. I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to die I thought I was going to be on one of those unsolved mystery.
Don't.
Live from Louisville, Kentucky.
I'm not Tim. I've already scared you enough tonight.
I got one more. Brian, did we give one for you? Did you give a bad movie experience?
Brian didn't have
I got one more before we, I guess, cut to a break. I went with beautiful Brent's brother, beautiful Brandon, and his girlfriend at the time to see one of the Hobbit movies. And we got there early, so we get really good seats where we could put our feet on the rails, and it's really nice. And at some point, like the old lady behind us, she yelled at me for having my phone out during the previews. So I was like, okay, whatever. At some point, though, during the movie, I look over, and Brandon has turned around in his seat, and he's just going, boom, 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 to his chair. And I'm just like, what is going on? And the old lady's yelling at him, he can't help it. That's just how tall he is. And blah, blah. Well, it turns out the old couple behind us, the guy was tall, but I don't know if he was mad or whatever. He had moved as far as he could, had his knees in Brandon's seat, pushing him forward, where Brandon was like this, and Brandon like kept just like banging his shit. So like we're trying to watch Hobbit, and Brandon's like literally trying to fight old people in the middle of the movie, and like the movie ended, and they didn't move. Like they were not leaving until we got up and left, and like I was just like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get in a fight. But it was just weird to be watching the movie, all of a sudden to see Brandon just going, and this old lady's yelling, he can't help it, he's just a tall man. Anyways,
That's awesome.
That's a memorable, terrible movie experience.
Well, it's time for a break. We need to take a break here in just a couple seconds.
Maybe come back and talk about some great movie experiences.
Yes.
Great movie experiences with you, Charlie.
All right, we're paused.
Mandates.
I was waiting for you to go, Charlie. You were just like,
Oh, well,
Somebody? Somebody? Anybody?
somebody stop it. Somebody.
We're down to a minute 51.
Only you can save the galaxy.
John, do you have a name for this song?
Bumper 3.
Bumper 3.
That's the name of it.
I've got a name for it.
I know what you're thinking. Well, welcome back to the podcast, guys. We took a quick technical difficulties break so we can reset the camera. Man, that music is good. I'm not shocked that it's good. It's just I don't like a lot of music, and
I like
it's
that
good times.
music.
That's good.
Well, it's garage band.
It's very 80s college rock sound. That's what I'm digging on it.
I didn't do
some
the
REM.
drums. I had to remix the drums because I can't play drums.
Not,
So-
not yet, at least.
Not yet. I did just pick up a set.
Yeah.
I'm learning on GarageBand how to play. That's with my fingers.
I'll have that master in another week and a half. I'm the most
He'll
interesting man in the
he's-
world.
He's been working on it during the podcast. At the end of it, he'll just bust out the solo from Inagata
Guys, I made this while you guys were talking.
Well, but the thing about it is that we either get in trouble with Columbia, records or whoever, because I'm showing my age there. We get in trouble because we're either playing copyrighted stuff or we buy stuff. So I decided, well, I might as well just go and make my own stuff. So
As you pull out
that's
your
what I'm
homemade
doing.
bamboo drum
Wow,
set
man.
later on, like that you made out of the backyard.
Wow.
Did Kinsey get a ukulele?
No.
Oh, she should have.
She chickened out.
She should have got a uke.
We were like, Susie's dad said he'd teach you. And she's like, no.
No thanks.
I want a
She's like,
lightsaber.
oh, that guy? No, never mind.
I want that.
lightsaber.
I want that rabbit sword over there, Dad.
Give me that rabbit sword. Give me a Bible stick.
So, to continue our discussion of how awesome movie theaters are, we're going to go around the room and give our favorite movie theater experience. Aaron, let's start with you. Not the time that your son almost died in a thorn bush, but
I didn't go to a lot of midnight screenings, but I do remember one was me and Tim were like, Revenge of the Sith is coming out. This is the final Star Wars movie. There will never be another one, so we're gonna go to the midnight showing.
Yeah, we did.
That was a lot of fun. There was people dressed up and stuff, and I really enjoyed that.
There
So,
were people with their laptops watching all the movies leading up to Revenge of the Sith while they were waiting in line. That was kind of cool. And in the theaters, people were dressed up. I remember we were listening to a radio show the next morning, and that person said at their theater, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jesus had a lightsaber battle in the parking lot at their premiere. So, yeah, that was crazy. That's a good one, Eric. I remember that one,
if you're
too.
not ashamed of Jesus, share this picture.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started. I'm getting ready to go full John on y'all again. I need a full John thing. I need
It's
to build
just
me
like a
one.
old it's an old warehouse horn going off when it's time for quitting time. It's just what it is.
I was going to say it was ukulele music.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go full John on that one. I hate that. I hate that thing.
tiptoes
with
through
it.
the tulips.
It's just John singing Tiptoes Through the Tulips.
Brian, what's your most favorite movie experience?
Mine was when the third and final Lord of the Rings trilogy was coming out. I found out that at Stony Brook they were doing all three movies in a row, but the first two were the extended versions, and then the new one came out right at midnight. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go. Of course, Jenny, that's not her thing, so I was like, that's cool. I'm going to go by myself. Well, my dad found out about it, and he's like, hey, I'll go with you. And I'm like, Dad, have you seen any of these movies? He's like, nope.
Do you know how long they are?
And I was like, Dad, they're like going to be like, the first two are going to be like 3 hours apiece. And I was like, and then you got the last one. He's like, that's fine. Doesn't matter. Okay. So it's in December. We go. And of course, there was only so many seats in the theater, so it's completely sold out. We watched them all. Of course, the last one they were great. But then as we're walking out, they were like, oh, by the way, credits end. I don't know what you call him. I guess the movie manager come out and he was like, by the way, the people at the Weta Workshop that made all of the special effects have these special gifts for you all for basically setting through the marathon that is these movies. And as you walked out, you got this little bitty box that had looked like stone base, and then there was a film cell from one of the three movies.
Of course.
That was inside of it.
Yeah, of
So-
course.
And I was like, so I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And Dad's like, oh, this is cool. And I'm like, I just want Gandalf. That's all I wanted. And fortunately, one of my film stills had him in it. But
Did it?
We did, but that was the coolest thing I've ever been a part because like it was completely unexpected.
Of course, Brian. Of course, anything ever good in life happens to Brian Tate.
That's what happened.
And Chris,
Well,
our
he's-
friend Chris.
But I'm not at the Chris level yet. Like
yeah, he's
I'm
a
working my way
he's a
up.
whole different level.
I gotta work my way up.
He's way up there.
He's like a level 3 or
But
level
but
2.
again, getting to do it with my dad, that was what was really
That's
that was
cool.
what really was cool. About it.
That's good, Charlie.
My first memory of anything from life is going to see Return of the Jedi. I don't remember anything before Return of the Jedi. And it was at Dixie 4 over on Dixie Highway, which is now a Party City.
Oh, Party
Yeah.
City.
That is that's my favorite best movie or movie memory. It's the first memory, and it's not just because it was Star Wars and not just because it was the first memory, but it was. My dad doesn't go to the movies very much. Lou is not a fan of being around people he don't know. So like that's I remember that though. It was all of us. We had all four, the whole family. I was 3 years old. And I don't remember watching the film itself. I remember the Ewok dance.
Experience.
Well, I remember the only memory of it I have is the Ewok, dance at the end and the end credits and the music. And it's always, I think that's one of the reasons why Star Wars is so special to me because it's a first memory of family or anything really. So
It's nice.
and then that and to juxtapose it, the first time I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show in the theater, that was pretty awesome too. Midnight at the Vogue Theater.
Did
It was,
Did you dress up?
I did not. Surprisingly, no drag for me that day.
Man.
Johnny.
I've got two. Got a modern one and an ancient one.
I have two also.
Is that the modern one I'll go with first was when Independence Day came out. I can't remember exactly what year that movie came out, but that movie was hyped more than any film
was. That's all it
ever.
did.
I mean, it was seriously hyped, and I'm talking. It was almost to the point, almost like you had when Episode 1 was getting ready to come out. It was almost like a kinetic type energy about it. Everybody wanted to go see it. So I think I cut work. I think I called in and cut work. And me and a friend of mine, Kevin, and his girlfriend, Carla, my wife, we were dating at the same time. We were going to go see it. Were you in on that?
Yeah, I was.
You were there, weren't you? And then it was Charlie, my sister, her friend Heather, and I think her friend Kelly. I can't remember.
Maybe.
I can't remember who
Possibly.
it was. All I know is that we filled up his Grand Prix. We had like 8 people in that car,
Grand Prix.
and it was
Grand Prix.
Grand Prix. Yeah, but it was one of these type things. It was like, man, we got psyched about. We were piled in this car. This was before like seatbelt law.
This is before the laws were in place.
We go out to Showcase Cinemas on Bardstown Road, and everybody just like pours out of this thing. And it was a party. I mean, that movie was seriously fun. That's one of my fondest memories of my young adulthood. Is seeing
remember
Independence Day.
I feel like I watched Independence Day, and when I walked out of the theater, it felt like the whole city should have been destroyed around me.
Yeah, it's still a great
It was
movie.
it's a great
It
experience.
is so hokey, but it is great. I mean, I still like it, and I still like Armageddon. Those are two of my favorite hokey dumb movies ever. But from my childhood, my fondest movie memory was one Saturday, my mom and my aunts and grandparents were having a yard sale. And we'd have to go over there and set. Me and my dad. My dad didn't like. He's going to set a yard sale all day, and I was 9, I think, 8 or 9, and so he gets me, and he's like, "Come on, we're going to leave." It's like, "Where are we going?" He's like, "We're just going to go. We're going somewhere." So we get in his truck and we leave. Well, we go over to Showcase Cinemas on Bardstown Road again because that was the only place really to go. And he took me, which is something that's totally outside my dad's realm. It's kind of like Lou just doesn't do a lot of movies. But he took me by myself because my sister was too young. I went and saw E.T. On its first run. I mean, it was one of the first run movies. And I've been a fan of that movie ever since because of that. But that's one of my fondest movie memories from my childhood was getting the privilege of being one of them people that are old enough to have seen like Empire Strikes Back on opening weekend and seeing E.T. and Return of the Jedi all opening. Superman, the original movie in 1979, I was 5 and wanted a hot dog. That's kind of all I remember about that.
old.
I am old, man. I just turned 44. But that was cool. That's probably one of my fondest movie memories.
Nice. Aaron? Did we already do Aaron?
That already went.
Oh,
Yeah.
I already did Aaron.
Yeah.
My bad. Oh, it's me. I will say, now that we've been reminiscing, Showcase on Bardstown, I saw so many movies there with so many large groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, I really sticks out. I think it was your graduation, Charlie.
It was.
We all went and saw Jurassic Park 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott Hall paid for everybody, including me. I think I just somehow, but I can remember us leaving Beth Haven, everybody driving down the Waterson, going there, and there was probably 20 of us there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just an awesome experience to see it. Everybody there. It was going to the movies in large groups when you were a teenager or even early 20s was always, I don't know, it was always just so much fun. It was just like you and your friends having a blast. So that one for whatever reason always sticks out to me. The other one was not counting when she came over to my house for dinner, but my very first date with my wife. I went with Aaron and his wife Andrea and John and Carla, and we
were
went
there, yeah.
and we saw Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, a movie which I don't think my wife would ever watch now.
It wasn't really a first date
It
movie.
was not a first date type movie, but I remember that's what we did for our first date, and that's and we also went to O'Charlie's and we talked about other just goofy stuff like that. But
Did we go to O'Charlie's with you?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Because we laughed at Andrea because she, for some reason, instead of saying alarm clock, she said alarm duck.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
you started making alarm duck sounds, and
Probably perfect, by the way.
perfectly. And Brittany thought you were hilarious, but
I am still hilarious.
but I just remember
quiet
that
I'm
was
very confident in my
that was
abilities.
my first date was going to the movies with my wife. So there you go. There's favorite
Nice.
movie moments.
Let me ask you a question here. I mean, is that because we were just talking about Independence Day, talking about movie theaters and things. Are movies still? Because I know Infinity War coming out, and I don't want to get back on Infinity War so much, but
It's already out.
or
Already saw it.
well, yeah, I know, but
Great.
it was incredible. But
I cried.
laughed.
I
I
wept
cried.
are
openly.
I was just talking about the feeling you got like with Independence Day coming out and stuff. Is it an age thing to where you're like,
I think so.
or is it that movies just don't hold the same amount of attention because of all the media we have nowadays?
Yes, there's so much media now. I don't think going to the movies is that big of an event anymore, personally.
Because nowadays it seems like you can get any piece of information about any movie you want at any time, and it kind of kills the magic.
Yep.
Because I don't think Independence Day would have been nowhere near as big as it was had you had that ability, but they kept things under wraps so well with that movie. And I was just curious if that was something that you all chime in on that and see what you...
The other problem is a blockbuster comes out every 2 weeks now.
True.
It's no longer like there's 3 blockbusters in the summer and that's it. It's every 2 weeks now.
Because it seems like to me when I was a kid, and I guess it's just because I paid more attention to it than I do now. But it was like when, like when Return of the Jedi was coming out, it would seem like you go to, let's say you go to Walmart, and it would be on like all the boxes of cereal. It would be on the cans of soup. It would be all over the place, and Dixie cups with it on there. And I can remember that, and it seems like, man, that really jazzed you up. I mean, I want to see this. I can't wait to see this. And that just seems like nowadays that maybe it's just because I don't pay attention to that anymore.
That was your exposure. Now you're overexposed. I mean, now you go on Facebook and there's a Last Jedi preview. You go on Yahoo and there's an article about the Last Jedi. You turn on your TV to watch anything, there's the Last Jedi. You go to the store, everything's the Last Jedi. I mean, by the point when the movie comes out, you've been overexposed, whereas before I think it was there wasn't as much of a mass exposure to everything.
I didn't mean to throw us off on a rabbit trail.
Oh
there.
no,
Just-
that's a good topic. Brian, what do you think? Overexposure, or that we're just jaded because we're older?
Yeah, are we just old?
No, I do think. I mean, well, the thing for me though now is it seems like anybody that wants to can write an article, can put a video out, regardless of whether it's true or not.
Make a
yeah,
podcast.
podcast.
But you know what I'm saying though. Like, but we're not trying to falsify information. We're putting
Right.
our predictions out there. But whereas, like you and I talked earlier, right? I mean, I read one article that says this actor doesn't want to do anything anymore. You read a completely contradictory article. So
Yeah.
it's everywhere you go. And Tim, you hate spoilers, but yet I almost feel like I know half of what Infinity War is going to be like
definitely.
because
Yeah.
there's 19 trailers for it right now. Deadpool's released another one now, and it's like, okay, so this is what's going to happen with cable and all this. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah.
You know, and that's what I wonder about with me with like Infinity War, because on our podcast last week we talked about and discussed it. I was kind of like, well, you know, I want to see it. I wonder if like me personally, if I'm overexposed to it to the point to
You
where
got fatigue.
I'm fatigued by it. I mean, seriously. I mean, you know, so yeah, because Carla the other night she was like, I can't wait to see Infinity War, and Susie was like, Bucky, oh, can't wait to see Bucky, you know, and I'm like, they're like, where are we going opening weekend? And I went, I don't know. And Susie was like, 3 minutes ago, you were just talking about how much you want to see it. I was like, yeah, but, you know.
that was
I
3
don't
minutes
know.
ago.
It was 3 minutes.
Yeah,
I've seen 6
he
trailers.
had,
in the
seen,
last
the,
3
he had
minutes.
seen the trailer 3
So,
minutes
a lot
ago,
of
so he was
things.
closer to
I've
it.
seen 4 Infinity War trailers and 2 solo ones in the last 2 minutes. So, you know.
Oh, Solo. We haven't even talked about that lately.
Let's save
But
that for
let's
another
save
day.
that for after. Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that that's part of it, because there is so much exposure to whether it's news, media, videos. I mean, anything now. I mean, you just I don't remember. I guess there was always multiple trailers for movies when we were younger, but I don't.
No, there
I
wasn't.
don't remember. I don't remember there being 8 different versions of Jurassic Park trailer. I just remember seeing
saw-
the cup rattle, and I'm like,
Speaking of
I
that-
gotta go see that. Like,
Yeah.
Like there was a brand new Jurassic Park trailer that came out,
yeah.
and it's totally different movie
In it though.
than all the other Jurassic Park trailers
Remember
I've
we
seen.
saw that on Super Bowl? We were like,
I was
what
like,
was that just happened?
What just happened? It's a totally like
That Jurassic Park trailer is boring.
no, but the new trailer is like a different movie.
Oh,
Like,
is it?
They're having
It's
like,
mutate-
auctions
it's like,
for
it's like mutated dinosaurs. and that
dinosaurs
stuff,
and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like what did I just?
Is
there
it the same one with Chris Pratt in it?
Yeah,
yeah. They gotta go get Blue.
yeah, no, but you
Get my
haven't-
boy Blue.
The new trailer was like that's all a trick. Like they're trying to sell the dinosaurs now,
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff. I'm like,
It's
what?
like a fire sale on an island with a volcano going.
I
Hey,
have no
in the
idea what's.
background.
I have no
I just
idea
know.
what's going on.
I just know in the first trailer I saw they were playing a piano, and it was like
A Velociraptor's playing
No,
a
I was
piano,
like,
They could do that. They got that smart. They
Oh,
were
yeah.
able to play piano.
because they like.
Charlie just pulled the mic out of the stand, so
It's
it's
serious.
serious.
It's Mac
it's sitting on
tonight.
something, and it was not close enough, so I'm just doing it lounge style.
Lounge
By the
style.
way,
forget
we've
his
gone
Tinder
totally
record.
off the course of mankind. That Deadpool 2 trailer dropped with him assembling his team.
Yes.
The last part
Mhm.
was hilarious with that guy. Do you have any powers? No. I just saw the ad and came. You're in.
Let's see.
Parachuting out the plane.
He's Halo jumping.
my only concern about from the trailers about the film is that it's not going to have that. I don't want to say independent feel, but the first one, like they did so many smart
Yeah.
things to work around not having any money, and then there was the argument between, or not argument, but the disagreement between Ryan Reynolds and the original director, so
Yeah.
he's not involved. I don't think it'll be bad. I just hope it's
It's
going to
feel more produced,
Yeah,
probably.
but
There was a great line in there where he goes, "We're going to go darker than DC."
yeah,
He's
or
making-
something like,
sound
are you a
Bat-
DC character?
Yeah, it's
That immediately sold me on the movie. I was like,
I was like, "I'm there."
yeah, no. Because if there is one person on the planet that absolutely has a burning hot hate for DC movies, it's Brian.
Salty Brian.
It's
I did shave
Oh.
my beard when that came out, so that could be one.
No, it's
No,
not.
no,
It was
it's
terrible.
bad.
We've probably discussed this before. I know you don't have a lot of time to watch TV, but did you ever even try like Arrow and Flash or any of those shows?
I believe I've seen one episode of Arrow
I saw one.
and Flash. No, I didn't even.
Did
try
you
that
guys
one.
hear how Legends of Tomorrow ended this season? They fought like a giant stuffed purple teddy bear.
Yes, I did hear about that. I stopped watching like fourth episode of the first season. So,
I
I'm good
couldn't
on
get
that.
into that. I couldn't get into it.
Aaron, are you thinking that Deadpool 2 is going to be awesome, or do you think there's going to be some problems with it because of the switch of the director?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff about bad test screenings. Then I heard them say, "Oh no, that's not true," and so I don't know.
Just
We're
like I said,
going, we're
contradictory.
going full Aaron.
No, we did not go full
We
Aaron.
were.
Oh, I was
we
going
were-
to push the button.
We
No,
were getting there.
we did
Do
not.
not
He
push the
dropped.
button, John.
He dropped test screening.
My finger was right there. I was getting ready to push the
that
button.
button.
All
John.
right. So as we wrap up for this episode of Five Live Bears, I just have one question.
Yes.
One question to go along with what we've talked about. What is your all-time favorite movie theater snack?
Ooh.
And And I mean, we could all say popcorn, but
White
it doesn't have to be
Castles.
some. Yeah,
So maybe
Does
outside the realm.
it
of normal
doesn't have to be
popcorn.
something that you actually have bought in a theater. It could be something you snuck in.
Juju.
Oh, snow caps for me.
Snow caps, Timbo.
I think I'm just gonna be standard popcorn guy with lots and lots and lots of butter.
I mean, that's my favorite.
Like-
but yeah,
The kind where, like, if you're eating it and you don't have napkins underneath
it's
the
like
popcorn,
on your pants.
you're like
Greasy pants.
Yeah.
Aaron.
So wait. Do you have like theater pants now? Like
No,
like they're so ruined by butter.
They're
that
so
you have to go-
ruined. Like I show up and they're stained already. Oh, the battery's almost dead. We're gonna wrap
Aaron,
it
what's
up.
your movie theater snack of choice?
I gotta go with my boy E.T. Reese.
Oh,
Pieces.
Aaron
good
was
choice.
a Reese's Pieces.
And John,
lover.
you're a White Castles guy.
No, Raisinets.
Raisinets. I'm with John. Raisinets are my all-time favorite.
Guys are awful.
Also, do enjoy sneaking in a protein bar every once in a while because the wrapper is the loudest thing in the world, and everybody knows I'm sneaking in food. All right, thanks once again for listening to us, watching us. Please comment on YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook,
If you see us in the street, give us a hug. John loves that.
Yeah, let's do
Apple
that.
Podcast, Google Play.
Give Johnny John a hug.
See you later, players.
Sorry, Brant.
Aaron,
Spiders.
Catch our new podcast, Bloomy Daniels.
I think John should play the Independence Day speech at the end of this podcast.
We will not go into the night